Welcome to Massive Late Fee. And now your hosts, Mark and Carol. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me as always is my girlfriend Carol. How you doing, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
It is March 25th, 1995, and we are here with all your entertainment needs.
Yep. I love you, but you're odd. We are here with all your entertainment needs, though. And I need you. You know, when you stare at me, they can't see you stare at me.
I'm just being normal now.
Oh.
So you want me to be normal. So, I haven't had a lot of time to look through the newspaper because there's so much going on in our lives.
There is.
But, big news for everybody. Michael Jordan's back.
Woo woo.
I hate Michael Jordan.
I don't care about sports.
But he's back with the Bulls.
It's very exciting, though, apparently.
And they beat the Pacers. I don't know, I guess.
I mean,
It's
I know.
exciting for people of Chicago. I hate Michael Jordan with a passion.
Why do you hate him?
Because, you really want me to get into it? Because it has to do with the Bad Boys 1991. And basically, Michael Jordan went to the commissioner and he said, I can't beat the Pistons because they push me around. And
What?
It sucks. And the commissioner said, okay, well, we'll just start making everything that they do on defense illegal. So we'll take all the physicality out of the game. And that's what they did. And then Jordan was able to beat them because they couldn't touch him anymore. All of a sudden, things that were never fouls before were all of a sudden fouls. When the Knicks began playing that way, starting like last year, nobody had anything to say about that because that's a big market team. But whatever. So he complained to them, and then the Isaiah Thomas didn't shake his hand when they beat them in 1991, which I agree with. And yeah, Michael Jordan is a piece of shit. You suck, Jordan. You couldn't beat a real team. You had to change the rules.
All that fire and passion about a basketball team.
Good catch.
I do at least know which sport is which, I swear.
Later, we're going to play some football polo.
Okay. Water polo?
No.
I like water polo.
Do
I
you?
don't, actually. I've never played it in my life, but I like water.
What the fuck? That's like the worst, what's that Chuck Woolery show? Love Connection. That's like the worst Love Connection interview ever. I know what sport, I swear. Like, could you see a person, a woman in that little, video thing they do?
Right.
I know which sport, I swear. I like water. The fuck? Audience, who do you think she should choose? Not her. Anyway.
But you did.
Yeah.
Oh, you sound so happy about it. Thanks.
So the OJ trial is still going on.
Any actual, updates?
There's stuff going on. We'll talk about it later.
All I care about is getting him in a jail cell because he's so obviously guilty.
Wow, really? You still think so?
I still think so.
I don't know, man. LA police are racist.
Yeah.
Well, they have been for a long time.
And that means even
Still
more.
planting the evidence.
I don't care.
Who the fuck even knows what DNA is anyway?
Right?
What is it?
Stuff.
It's no scientific explanation I've ever heard.
It's like the building blocks of people.
It's Legos. It's human Lego.
Right?
Anyway, so I guess he left his Legos all over the crime scene with two almost headless people. So,
I mean, it does kind of make sense that, maybe his DNA would be around because he has kids with her.
No, there's his DNA right there.
Right?
Maybe
his
that's
DNA's
what they
been
meant.
inside of her.
Maybe that's what they meant.
Ew. Anyway, I still think he did it. Sorry.
We found his DNA on the site, but it was his children. That's what we didn't tell.
Because despite the DNA, there was the bloody glove.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They could have planted that.
Why would they, though? They love him.
Racists.
But he's rich.
But he's black.
So? He's rich, though. That supersedes race.
Well, he was with a white woman. That's all I'm going to say.
Everybody loves OJ until they don't. I don't think they would do that to him.
What a great name for a sitcom. Everybody loves OJ. And ... until they don't. And then every episode ends with him murdering somebody else.
Oh my God. That'd be a good Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah. I should be on Saturday Night Live.
You should.
No.
You hear that, LA people?
Saturday Night Live is filmed in New York. Oh. Very famously.
Never mind. Okay, you know what, people?
They have water there, though.
I don't feel well. I am sleep deprived. I'm doing my best here.
Yeah, every episode begins with the host saying live from New York.
That's how much I watch Saturday Night Live, okay?
Wow.
I don't think I've watched it since I was like a kid, like a little kid, like when it was first like
when it was first on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So back in the
80s.
Like Chevy Chase days and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. 70s, but yeah.
Oh. Well, I wasn't alive in the 70s.
You weren't?
No. No, Grandpa, I wasn't.
We never really established
Neither
it.
were you.
I was alive in the 70s.
For a couple of months. Let's not count.
Let's not get specific. I was alive in the 70s. That's all we need to say.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of alive in the 70s, Jerry O'Connell was alive in the 70s.
Was he?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess he is older than you. That makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, he's been in Hollywood for quite a while. You know, where they filmed Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It's pre-taped in LA and then, exported live to New York.
Exactly.
Anyway, so we watched Slider.
Ever since he heard this show was coming out, he's been doing that, and it's so creepy, and I hate it. We'll be in bed in the dark, and I'm almost like falling asleep, and I'm all comfy and happy, and then I just hear Sliders, and then I kick him in his balls. Yeah, he keeps doing it. Is it worth it? Is it?
Yep.
Freak.
Anyway, so this show reminds me a lot of another one of my favorites. Gone Before Its Time, Quantum Leap.
Yeah, it does.
It's very Quantum Leap-ish.
Well, yeah. I have a feeling that this show is going to be similar to, like, the whole point. Like, just repeating the same mission, basically, in a different way over and over.
Right. So, the show is created by Tracy Torme, who you may recognize as the son of Mel Torme.
I don't know who Mel Torme is either.
The Velvet Fog.
Nope.
He was a singer in the 50s.
Yeah, who knows that?
Scooby-Doo-Boo-Boo.
Maybe.
Scat singer.
Maybe your grandparents. I don't know.
Did you ever watch Night Court?
Yeah.
Ya ass?
Yes, ya ass, I do.
Well, guess what?
What?
Harry Stone's mentor or whatever, like his hero is Mel Torme.
Okay.
Got a picture of him.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. But anyway, his son is like a science fiction writer, and he's gotten some scripts produced, or like he sold some scripts to Star Trek: The Next Generation when that show was on the air. So he wrote some episodes of Star Trek, and he's been writing science fiction and stuff like that for a while. So anyway, he's one of the creators of this show, and basically the premise of the show is boy genius Quinn Mallory, played by Jerry O'Connell, he's trying to invent an anti-gravity device, but he accidentally invents a device that creates an Einstein Podansky wormhole, as he calls it, it's not exactly, the physics of this is not exactly correct.
Well, I mean, it couldn't be, could it?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But Einstein, Rosencrantz, Podansky, whatever. Anyway, he creates a bridge. It's a wormhole to another dimension, basically. And that's what his little device does. He tests it out. He's this like absent-minded genius, basically. And he's got a friend named Wade that he works with at a computer store, who he looks at her as like a friend, but she clearly has a crush on him, and it's...
I think he might reciprocate those feelings and just not know it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what all women think. Is that, he likes her, but he just doesn't know he likes her yet. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so, and then he is a professor played by John Rhys Davies, who you may remember from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I'm trying to remember who he was in that movie.
The dog? You are named after the dog? He's that guy.
Okay.
I can't remember his name, but Raja or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he plays Professor Arturo, who is Quinn Mallory's physics professor. And then last person we have is Cleavant Derricks as Rembrandt Brown, the crying man.
Yeah.
A singer.
I don't know why they incorporated him in.
I don't either. It's weird. I mean, and they really have to shoehorn him in, too. It's so weird. So he creates this thing. He tests it out. It works. He goes to a place that's kind of like, where so the premise seems to be, it's the same year, it's the same planet, it's Earth. It's just a different dimension. So there might be one or two or, who knows how many, but there might be, there's subtle differences.
Right.
Sometimes the little differences can add up in huge ways and make things really different, or sometimes it's just subtle, small differences.
Yeah, huge differences like an ice world, and subtle differences like the gate doesn't squeak.
Right. So his the first one he goes to for 15 minutes. John F. Kennedy is still alive and is still president,
and is sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. He's still president?
Yeah, because they say he doesn't want to run for another term.
Oh, that's weird.
So I guess they never. Even after Roosevelt, they never instituted term limits.
Or maybe they took it away because they loved him so much.
I guess.
Because everybody loved him.
Yeah, but that's not true. That's the myth. There were people cheering when he was assassinated.
No.
Oh, yeah. There were people that were like, good, good he's dead.
Well, I guess it's always like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I think he was more loved in retrospect than he was during his lifespan as actual president. Now, I think he would have been reelected. I think he would have won re-election. I think he would have been fine. But, who knows?
Right.
He was probably more liked than disliked, but it was a turbulent time in America, so it wasn't, it wasn't universal and everyone loved him. But anyway, and then Elvis is still alive. And one of the weirdest changes is red means go.
Yeah.
And green means stop.
Why would anyone ever do that?
I don't know. I don't know what changes there to make red go.
I mean, do you think that's something that could be subjective, that in a different world without the bias that red could mean something else? Because, it just seems so...
Well, yeah, I think the bias of red and green as like red meaning stop or warning or danger or whatever, I think is definitely a bias that's built in to life. But I don't know, maybe not, because if you think about it, different animals that have, markings or camouflage and stuff, red is a signal to, danger, stay away.
And it's the color of blood.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it's almost universal. But I don't know. It's not quite the same as 2 + 2 not equaling 4.
Right.
That's that's not going to change no matter where you are. But, so it's not quite as universal as that. But it's still weird. And why is it on the top still? Why is red on the top still if it means go? Why would the top be go and the bottom be stop?
I don't know.
That doesn't make much sense to me either.
And we never saw what the middle was. I wonder if it's still yellow.
And the middle's gray.
Right. There is no middle. So, it's interesting, like, to think about what it would be like to have different, slightly altered dimensions.
So he goes there for 15 minutes. He gets sucked back into his normal world. And then the only reason this happens is so that they can explain to the audience. But another him appears in his basement and basically says, hey, so I figured this out too. I'm also you from an alternate Earth. Hey, this is really cool. Let me explain the entire premise of the show to the audience real quick.
Right.
Because it doesn't make any sense if you do it, although he could have easily done it to the professor or Wade. But anyway, he basically says, hey, this is what it is. Oh, and he presses the button to, go, and he's like, oh, one really important thing real quick. Let me tell you right now, you got to, and then he disappears.
Yeah, and, he wastes, a bunch of time saying stuff like, oh, this is the most important thing, blah, blah, blah. Shut up and just spit it out.
Yeah, and why isn't that the first thing you tell him?
Yeah. It had something to do with adjusting the time.
Right.
So.
With the timer, don't mess with the timer. So, when he was there, his double basically insults the professor and kisses Wade for some reason. And like you said, I guess he likes her and he doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
That dude said he was married, too. He's been married for 2 years. So is he married to Wade, or is he married to somebody else and he just cheated on his wife?
That's a very good question. I would assume it's Wade.
Yeah. So they come to his house at the same time. I don't know why. They don't really explain it that much, but I guess the professor is like, oh, I think he wants to apologize to me. And Wade's like, oh, I just want to check on him. So his mom lets him in. They go down to the basement, and he explains to him, hey, this is what I'm doing. And the professor's like, oh, this is bullshit. Even though you've solved the unified field theory, which is something that Einstein couldn't do and people have been trying to do for, 100 years.
Yeah, because his double just filled it all out on the blackboard.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you solved it, but I don't believe anything you're saying right now either. And then he uses the machine. He pushes a little button. And the wormhole appears. And then they're, kind of convinced. And he's like, hey, let's all go through it and we'll explore. I'll show you, what's up. But I'll have to increase the power to do this. So he increases the power, which not only expands it a little bit, which is fine, but then for some reason it also just floats out in space. Just starts traveling. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It travels through his thing, and then it goes and sucks up Rembrandt Brown's car.
Yeah, he just drives into it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's like that's the one part of the show that I didn't like is it really shoehorns in him. They couldn't find a more elegant way to get him involved.
Yeah.
In this plot, so I don't really get that. But he was going to the baseball game because he wanted to sing the national anthem because he's some famous singer from the past, but he left the group that he was famous for, and they ended up being super successful without him, and he ended up being nothing.
So he wants to try to make a comeback.
Mm-hmm. So they all end up together in this ice world, and there's an ice tornado coming at them, threatening to kill them all. So they're like, hey, change the timer, get us out of here faster or whatever. And he's like, I don't know if I really should because the guy was trying to tell me something. And he's like, but I will, whatever. So he does. And they go to a different world. But what's changed?
Well, it takes them a while to figure it out, but they separate because the guy, Mr. Brown, wants to make it to his show.
Mr. Brown, you've got a lovely daughter.
So he hops in a cab, and when they get to a toll booth, he hands the guy $1.
Yeah.
And this triggers the police because the country has been taken over by Russia.
Russia!
Yeah. I mean, there's little hints before this. Mm-hmm. Like, the statue that had been Abraham Lincoln is now Lenin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody's calling each other... Comrade. Yes, it's very weird.
Yeah, and Wade tries to make a phone call, but she can't.
Yeah. And they want her... Like, there's some kind of phone, like, number she has to provide to be able to use the phone.
Her authorization number.
Yeah. So,
to
like,
make a phone call.
It's so like restricted you can't even use a phone. That's a scary thought. Is it like that in Russia?
I don't know. Well, not anymore because communism has fallen. But was it like that before? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, they end up hooking up with the resistance, this underground resistance movement of Americans. And it turns out that in the 50s, we lost the Korean War, which led to the domino theory of, country after country basically falling to communism, Southeast Asia, South America, all that stuff. We were economically isolated from the rest of the world, and our economy collapsed. And then we became a third world hellhole, and Russia took us over.
Yep.
So that's kind of the, what happened. That's the change. In history. And Wade in this world is some revolutionary leader, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but based on the personality we see.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know what all she's been through.
That's true. And then the professor is the warden of this big jail where she's being held. And also Brown, like you said, gets hauled off to jail there in a very funny segment where they lampoon the People's Court.
Right.
He gets hauled off there as well.
Well, and he finds out that he was actually killed in an uprising in Detroit 12 years before.
Right.
That would be creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, that person's dead.
Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, so they're going to break them all out. And they do.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I wish.
Well, go ahead, tell us.
So, okay. So they get this plan, and it's weird, like, how they all listen to Wade, even though that's not their Wade, and she's not really the leader.
Right.
And see, and in that way, I guess maybe she is a natural leader, because they are listening to her. But she manages to get them to agree on basically a rescue mission. And, like, one of the dudes is saying to her, if this doesn't go well, then, we're going to lose everything.
Right.
The whole uprising in the western area is going to fall. So that's a lot of pressure to put on them, this little mission. So they go and they do this whole exchange at the gate to get in where, what is the guy's name again? Arturo.
Yeah.
Professor Arturo is pretending to actually be, of course, the warden, right? And
that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, to get them in. And they have some kind of test he has to do where he has to put his hand on this like box that's going to read his handprint, and it says it's him, and you think everything's cool, and they get in there, but it's not cool. Somehow they still knew it wasn't him because I guess he's already in there.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
But I mean, like, it scanned his hand and said that's your guy. Why would you question that?
I don't know.
In any normal situation, like a fingerprint match is a fingerprint match.
I don't know. I don't know why he questions it, but he does.
So they're trying to rescue Wade, and like there's like a whole big battle ensues. And I'm not great. Like I kind of gloss over battles. Like my brain just glosses over battles. Mm-hmm. But our main dude grabs her when she's like with her like lover. By the way, we kind of missed that part, but she has a lover here,
right?
And they're battling, and she's fine, and he rips her away from him and pulls her onto the truck because he thinks that this is the old Wade, like not the old Wade. It's hard to say. Like he thinks that this is the Wade.
His Wade.
He's supposed to be with him. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And she gets shot.
Yep.
So
And she dies.
I really blame him for the death of the Wade in this dimension.
Okay.
I really do. Like I told you, I think that was a stupid thing to do. Why are you laughing at me?
You really hung up on this one detail.
Yeah, because he causes her to die.
Well,
she
yeah.
was with the guy who loves her and was going to protect her.
Mm.
And he's like, oh, you're coming with me.
Yeah.
So
it is his fault.
And he falls to his knees crying. He's completely shattered as a person.
Because he thinks it's his Wade.
Yeah. And then his Wade shows up and he's just hugging her like, I'll get you home. I'll get you home.
Right.
So, yeah, he loves her.
But he's like, I don't care about this other one now. She's a disposable person.
Yeah, it seems like that's how they think about it because it's not their dimension. But that's not right because all the dimensions, I think, should be equally important, don't you?
Are you running for president of the multiverse?
No.
All dimensions are equally important.
Seriously, though. I mean, because to the other Wade that came in the beginning, or not Wade. Quinn, that came in the beginning, who said, oh, I'm a slider, and he's done this a bunch. Like, it seems like he thinks it's a plaything. I mean, he caused the main character guy to lose his job.
Yeah.
Got him in trouble, kissed Wade.
He does.
All this stuff.
He does think it's a plaything.
Yeah, it's not. These are real lives and real people.
Well, apparently not to him.
Okay.
We'll never see that Wade again.
Right?
Or that Quinn Mallory again.
Probably not, anyway. So they all get together and they're running from, these jail people. Why are you laughing at me?
These jail people. The communists.
And the whole time, okay, they've been waiting for the timer to fix itself, which I don't know why he thinks it's just going to fix itself.
Recharge itself.
Yeah, recharge itself. Like, how?
I don't know.
But it does. Well, when they need it to.
No, they fix it. The professor and him fix it. They're talking about slide rules and stuff like that. They fix it themselves. And he's like, hey, this will be better if we go to the park. Our odds of getting back to where we need to be will be better if we go to where we came out, the park. So I'm like, okay, so let's go there.
Okay, I must have missed something. Sorry.
Yeah, and the revolutionaries, they're like, hey, this victory of raiding the place and then getting everyone killed is spreading across the entire nation. This is the shot in the arm that this revolution needed or whatever. And so they go back to the park and they use the thing and they go back and they think everything's cool. And he's like, hey, my gate, it squeaks. And then he opens it and it squeaks. So they're like, all right, everything's awesome.
Yeah, because there was one time when it didn't squeak before. Oh, and we didn't even touch on this, like some of the weirdness that happened, like in one of the other dimensions. His mom was pregnant with the gardener's baby.
Right.
Just throwing that out there. That was weird. And her hair was a different color.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, they're celebrating because they're back and they're like, oh, what are we gonna do tomorrow? Kind of thing. And they're talking about what they should do with the sliding technology and they should throw it away or whatever, right? And then Quinn's dad walks in and is like, hey, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
And we found out earlier in the episode, like much earlier, like at the beginning of the show, that his dad died in this dimension when he was like, I don't know, a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not in their dimension. We don't know what's going to happen or what they're going to do because that's where it cliff hangs at.
And we've got to wonder, like, where is he right now?
Yeah, where's the one from this dimension?
Because his mom said she almost called the cops, that she was worried he hadn't been home.
Maybe the dimension he's in is the one that his double that kissed Wade and all that stuff came from.
Maybe.
So maybe that's why he's not there.
But no, because that one's married.
Yeah. So
she said you spend so much time in the basement. I don't know if you're here or not. I don't think him and his wife would be living with his mom, and he would be hanging out in his mom's basement. He's married. Come on.
Mom and dad, because the parents are still together.
Right.
Still alive. Yeah, I don't know.
So.
Maybe he's dead. Maybe some revolutionary version.
Who knows?
It was like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he did slide, though. Maybe he slides, too. Maybe there's a bunch of him just sliding all over all these different dimensions.
Well, it's interesting because, like Quantum Leap, there's an infinite number of dimensions and an infinite number of differences that they could explore. So I think it's a really great idea for a show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the pilot, parts 1 and 2. It was long, but I very much enjoyed the show. And I think that I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe, doing it again. Let us know if you want to hear about the show again, because we will definitely do it.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know.
I want to keep watching.
Are there any Slide fans out there?
Sliders, you weirdo.
You just did it too.
Because you've got it in my head now. Every time I hear the word sliders, I hear it in your voice.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's not all we watched, though. That's not all we did.
Oh no, we also went to the movies and saw something just terrible.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about it?
Okay. He made me. I just want to start out with he made me.
What?
You made me see this movie.
We have to watch movies.
Yeah, but not shitty ones.
Wow. We don't always have a choice. But was it shitty?
It was pretty shitty.
What was it?
Billy Madison.
All right, well, tell us about Billy Madison. William Madsen, as he prefers to be called.
Now, part of the problem with this movie is it starts off really, really bad. And
I can't disagree with that. It does start off bad.
Yeah, it kind of loses me immediately. So even though there are parts of it that maybe aren't as bad, it's like I already hate the movie. Mm-hmm. They should not have done that. But okay, Billy Madison, rich kid, real dumb, lives at home with his dad in a mansion, so who can blame him?
Played by who?
Adam Sandler.
Okay, there you go. Saturday Night Live's Adam Sandler.
Yes. And
fresh off the set in L.A., he's he is in this movie.
I hate his voice. I hate his voice so hard.
Oh, really, fool?
Yeah. Like, you can tell. I mean, you could, and like, why? Does he think that makes it funnier? It doesn't.
Oh, you're going to be a soccer player.
I hate him.
I know.
Hate him.
It's, oh my God. It's terrible. I agree. I've, besides, like, so all of Adam Sandler's characters on Saturday Night Live is something man. Like Opera Man or, whatever, like he did that Halloween thing where he's like, I'm crazy tube head man, and stuff like that. And it's like, it's not funny. I never found him funny on Saturday Night Live. Like the characters he does on Saturday Night Live is almost like a parody of reoccurring characters from Saturday Night Live. Okay. But I don't think he's smart enough to have thought of that. So I don't think that's what he's doing. But it's like, Opera Man,
I mean, okay. There was a CD with like Lunch Lady Land and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. But that's all I've ever thought of was funny from him.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of that is still the same thing, though. It's still the same, like, oh, I'm gonna be so crazy.
I guess. I don't know. I just don't like him. Okay, so he has been laying on a floaty in the pool, not even by the pool, and fell asleep and got too much sun, and he's been drinking all day. And apparently, this combination frequently causes him to hallucinate giant, fluffy penguins. Like, that's normal. Like, hey, I had too much sun and alcohol, so I'm going to hallucinate now. Who does that?
I don't know.
I think that he's supposed to be mentally ill.
William Madison.
Something wrong with him.
Maybe.
So he's chasing a giant penguin all around the property.
Can I point out that his dad's name is Brian?
Sure.
Brian Madison.
Why does that matter?
He doesn't look like a Brian.
Okay.
Gavin McFadden doesn't look like a Brian.
Okay.
I think it's weird.
It is weird. He looks like a Mr. Madison.
Yeah. Or like Gavin. I mean, I can see that.
Gavin.
That's his real name.
Interesting.
Anyway, go ahead.
So his dad has invited a bunch of his business associates over. Mm-hmm.
to yawn.
Sorry, guys. I'm telling you, I don't get enough sleep anymore. And they show up for dinner. Yes, it is. They show up for dinner, and he's acting like a freak in front of them. He gets sent upstairs to get ready, and his housekeeper?
Yeah, Juanita.
Is she the housekeeper? I mean, she acts more like his freaking nanny. It's weird. Nanny who wants to sleep with him, though. The whole relationship between those two is really weird. Mm-hmm. She flirts with him all the time. Ew. So she sends him upstairs to get ready, and Dad is going to announce that he's retiring, and he wants to give the company to this shit for brains asshole Billy.
Well, here's the thing. After he embarrasses himself at the dinner, Carl, played by Larry Hankin, and who was in the Alcatraz movie with Clint Eastwood, very good movie. But anyway, so Carl, and then what was the other guy's name? I can't think of the other guy's name.
The bad guy.
Yeah, he's the bad guy of the movie. I can't think of his name for some reason. But anyway, they have the most reasonable conversation in the world.
Yes.
With Brian Madison, where they're playing billiards, very poorly, by the way. That's a joke that's overlooked, I think, by a lot of people. Is they're just like slamming the balls around. They're clearly not even looking or whatever. They're very bad at billiards. But anyway, so he says to him, the bad guy says to him, bad guy starts off incredibly reasonable before he turns into an absolute caricature of a bad guy. But he's like, hey Carl, how many people work for this hotel, empire that Mr. Madison owns? And he's like 60,000 people and change. And he's like, yeah. He's like, do we really want to entrust the livelihoods of 60,000 people into your son, who is a moron, right? Basically. I mean, it's a madness plan.
It is.
To give him control of the hotel. Like you said, just give him some money and whatever, which is apparently what they're going to do. So his dad, calls him downstairs and everything, and he's like, he's still being an idiot. Mm-hmm. And his dad says, shut up. I'm trying to tell you that I'm retiring, and, this dude, Eric, that's his name. Yeah. Eric's going to take over the company, not you. And he gets all pissed off and everything, and he's like, him? Why? Don't give the company to him. It's my company, all this stuff. And, all of a sudden, he cares about taking over. He has shown no ambition towards it at all to this point. And he wants to take over the hotel business. And his dad's like, I'm doing you a favor. You never have to look for a job. You can just drink and read your nudie magazines and all that stuff. And
just keep living the life.
Right. And so apparently they're going to do the plan that you said. Give him a trust, give him money, and
let him waste his life away.
Yeah. And that should be the end of the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
From what we've seen from him so far, that should just be like, okay, thanks, Dad, and we're done. But I guess he's got some sort of ambition beyond what he's doing that I don't know why he's not doing anything with his life, but anyway. So he says to his dad, I can do it. He's like, I got through high school. That was tough, but I got through it. And Dad's like, you didn't get through high school. I paid all your teachers. I've been paying your teachers since first grade.
Yeah, because he apparently managed to win a spelling bee by spelling rock R-O-K.
Yeah.
And, how did he pay off all the audience members, too?
I don't know.
That makes no sense to me.
So, he says to him, okay, Dad, here's what I'll do. I'll go through school, 2 weeks, each grade. I will go through, I will pass, I will show you that I can do this, and then you give me the company. I don't see how this qualifies him to run.
It does not.
You need to know so many things about the ins and outs of the hotel industry to run a hotel, and just going through this weird contest is not going to do it. But whatever.
He should be forced to get a business degree.
Yeah.
Or a hospitality degree.
Yeah, something. So anyway, the dad's like, okay, we'll do it. We'll do it this way. if you can do it by June 15th, then you get the company. If not, it goes to Eric. And that's the premise. That's the beginning of the film. So then he starts going back to school.
And he gets a crush on one of the teachers.
Yeah.
And she thinks he's a dipshit because he is.
Veronica Vaughn.
Yeah.
She's from a Marvel comic book.
Really?
No, it's because they all have those names. Peter Parker.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Peter Parker.
Alliterative names.
Reed Richards. Sue Storm.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So he makes it through
Bruce Banner.
He makes it through first and second grade, and then he ends up in this teacher's class in third grade.
Yeah.
And she starts out being really hard on him and really mean to him.
Yes.
And somehow, and they don't explain it, they don't show anything happening different between them. Mm. They go from, she literally made him cry.
Right.
To the point he doesn't even want to go to school.
Yep.
To, like, she likes him back.
Yeah.
Now, they go on a field trip, and one of the little third grade boys pees his pants. And Billy decides to, act like that's a cool thing to do and act like he also peed his pants.
That's his best friend, by the way, this kid.
Yeah. His third grade best friend. I mean, he does have adult best friends, but they just hang out at the house and drink.
Yeah. Oh, Norm Macdonald's in this movie,
yeah.
And I love Norm Macdonald.
Yeah, he's pretty good in this movie. He's pretty funny. But apparently, according to Billy, when he's talking to the teacher, his friends just sleep over all the time, and he doesn't even invite them to.
Yeah.
And then his dad's business associates are always around. There's just people in and out of their house all the time. That sounds kind of awful.
It does.
So he set up a tent in the yard of this giant mansion, which is where he's spending most of his time. Mm-hmm. And he's showing her this, and that's when she's like, "Oh, you've got your teacher alone in a tent. What are you going to do?
You've graduated from third grade.
Yeah.
You've got your teacher alone in a tent. Well, like, that's a normal thing.
Right.
What are you going to do?"
But then Larry Hankin...
And then she says, "Let's pretend you're 8.
Ew. Larry Hankin walks in, though, and nothing really happens.
He tells him that Eric's up to something.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, like I said, he goes from being completely reasonable to all of a sudden he's like, "Who will help me bring down Billy Madison? Ha! I will take over Madison Hotels and destroy the world." Like, that's how all of a sudden his character is going.
Why wouldn't, I mean, it's not like for no reason. I mean,
he hates Billy.
Well, and he thought he was getting the company, and then all of a sudden he's not.
So you think it drove him mad?
Maybe. Wouldn't you go a little crazy if you were losing a company to that asshole?
We all go a little crazy sometimes.
So.
What movie is that from?
Oh. Is it like something the Joker says in something? I don't know.
Joker? Like from 89 Batman?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
It's from Psycho.
Oh, okay. So Billy makes it through all kinds of hilarity, all kinds of stupidity. And
makes it through what?
Through till 9th grade.
Okay, so he's in high school.
And
drives his Trans Am into high school with an REO Speedwagon shirt.
Yeah.
Because let's pretend it's 1986.
Yeah, that wasn't the best plan. So he's a big loser in high school, but he is doing it, okay? He's only got a few more weeks left, like a couple months left of doing this, and then he's going to get the company. Yeah. So the evil guy...
Although high school's got to be the hardest part.
You would imagine. We won't know because he doesn't do it. The evil guy gets nervous and decides to set him up for a fall. So he finds out that the principal of the elementary school was a wrestler.
Yes, the revolting blob.
Yeah. And apparently he's so embarrassed by this and doesn't want people to know.
He killed a guy.
Oh, that was why. Okay, yeah.
He murdered a guy in the ring. And he tries to explain, he's like, no, he was supposed to tap me. Like, if he was running out of air, like, it was a thing gone wrong.
Right.
Because it's fake, wrestling's fake. It was like some sort of stunt gone wrong, and he literally killed a guy. And he's like, they'll never let me be, teach or be a principal again. These kids are my life. Don't take this away from me. And he's like, well, here's what you got to do. And then he whispers to and then he goes on TV and says that he took a bribe of $5,000 from Billy Madison to pass him in his classes, and that's what happened. Even though the teachers should be able to corroborate whether he did the work or not.
Right.
I mean, one of them was a spelling bee. How could he have cheated on that?
Well, he did before, apparently.
Yeah, well, no, his dad paid him off before.
Yeah.
So the teachers would have known. But anyway, so it seems like there'd be a lot of evidence. His dad doesn't believe him. His dad's like, nah, you fucking cheated me. Eric gets the company. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And,
he gets really depressed and goes back to acting like a douche and drinking too much and
yeah. Seeing penguins.
yeah. And he knocks on Veronica Vaughn's door when he's all drunk. And I don't know, they have a little argument. She shows up the next morning and, beats the shit out of him for acting like an ass.
She's seen the dailies.
What?
That's when they shoot a movie, the raw footage that you can look back at and see, okay, this is what things are looking like so far. Those are called dailies. So she's seen the dailies of the movie so far.
Right.
And she's like, this is terrible. I'm going to beat the fuck out of him for making this movie.
So, yeah. So she's beating the shit out of him, and she tells him, she knows he didn't cheat because he, earned his way through her class at least, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So she inspires him to not give up and give in like he was going to. And
then Eric's like, no, it's my company because we had a written contract. We never saw that, but it's so weird they wrote all this down. And he's like, Billy Madison's like, well, listen, I'll challenge you to a academic decathlon.
Right.
10 events of all the stuff that you would learn and be proficient at in high school. Whoever gets the most points wins the company.
And Billy wins.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we should point out real quick because this does come back.
Huh.
Veronica's talking to him and she's like about how he's not popular in high school anymore, even though he's popular the first time he went. Because he was the rich kid the first time he went, And she's like, hey, doesn't feel good to be made fun of, huh? I bet there was people you made fun of in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you think about that? So he calls up Steve Buscemi and says, Steve, Mr. Buscemi, the actor,
right.
I loved you in Reservoir Dogs, and also, I'm sorry that I made fun of you in high school. And he says, oh, hey, it's cool. And he's got this list that says people to kill, and Billy Madison's on the list, so he crosses them off.
Right.
And anyway, so yeah, they do the decathlon. It's a bunch of, it's basically, it's another montage. They did a montage of him going through different grades. Like, third grade was the touchstone of the movie. And then they, did a montage of him going through different grades and all that stuff. Then they do a montage of this academic decathlon and everything. And they get to the last thing, and he gets, I think it's the Industrial Revolution in literature or something like that. He can't answer the question. He tries to, and they give one of the best lines of the film, where the guy tells him that, what you just said is the most stupid and ridiculous thing I've ever heard. He goes to this whole thing, and Billy Madison goes, a simple wrong would have been okay.
Right.
And so then he's looking, and the guy can tie. Eric can tie. So he's like, oh, I'll choose business ethics.
Right.
And Eric doesn't know anything about ethics. So
obviously
he freaks out. He freaks out and pulls a gun. And he's like going to shoot everyone or whatever.
Yeah, he's pretty mentally unstable.
So then there's a cavalcade. It's like a curtain call. There's a cavalcade of people from the movie before the principal rushes in dressed like the wrestler and knocks him down. Eric gets back up. He's going to shoot Veronica, who's also on the stage now. And Steve Buscemi shoots him from like the bell tower, and just waves at him. And Billy Madison's like, oh, I'm glad I called him. And then it's over. Eric gets taken away in handcuffs. And Billy graduates. He decides to give control of the company over to Carl, which is the best decision ever.
Right. Because he wants to be a teacher.
Yeah, so he's going to go to college and try to be a teacher. He's gained ambition, and him and Brigitte Neal Wilson are together.
Yeah.
And that's it. Movie's over.
It was pretty bad. I mean, it
had its moments.
It was. I'd give it a C-.
It was choppy. I'll give you that. There were parts of it that I was like, this is just stupid baby talk and it's not funny. But there were parts of it that were clever. And there was one line that he delivered that was really funny because of how like deadpan it was. When Adam Sandler's doing like deadpan humor, he's really good at it. Mm-hmm. But I can't think of what he said, but it was very funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that are good, but overall, I mean, first of all, the entire idea of the movie is bad.
Oh, I like the idea of the movie.
You do?
A guy that has to I think that's a very comedic premise. An adult that has to go back starting from elementary school and complete school over again. I think that's a premise that's filled with comic potential. Now, I'm not saying they lived up to the comic potential of that premise, but I think it's a funny premise to start from.
I guess. Maybe it's just Adam Sandler. I don't know. I just don't like it. I didn't enjoy the movie.
What if this had been a Jim Carrey movie instead?
I don't like him that much more. I mean, sorry.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, he would have been another, like, they're similar to me in certain ways.
I think Jim Carrey is even more over the top. Like, Adam Sandler is, like, his humor is more stupid, and Adam Sandler's is more outrageous.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. Either way, they're both too extreme, and I don't enjoy it.
Yeah. I happen to like, Ghostbusters or like...
I like Ghostbusters.
Like dry, sarcastic kind of humor.
Yeah.
That's more my type of humor.
Same. For sure.
I don't like the big, broad, like, whoa kind of humor. That's not... That might be more what my type of humor is. Sorry, guys. But that's not what I necessarily like.
Like, an example of a joke in this movie, he realized that it's nudie... This is in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. He realized it's nudie magazine day.
Yeah.
So he tears across the mansion to get to the mailbox to get his nudie mags. And they're disgusting. There's, like, one that's, like, old ladies. It's, like, over 80 or something.
Yeah, women over 80. Something about she-males.
Yeah. And then there was one that was, I guess, normal.
Drunk chicks.
Yeah. Ugh.
Just women drinking a lot, I guess.
I guess. And they look too young.
I don't think they were supposed to, though. I don't think that was a joke. I don't think they were supposed to look too young.
Okay. They just do.
I guess. Who knows who they hired for that photo shoot?
Right.
They had to have specially printed that magazine.
Oh, I'm sure. So,
can you imagine if that's one of your credits? You take your resume and stuff to whatever casting directors, and it's like appeared as a picture on Drunk Chicks in Billy Madison.
Right. But yeah, I would not waste your time or money going out to see this movie unless you're an Adam Sandler fan, in which case this probably sounded amazing and you can't wait.
I would wait for Blockbuster. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my opinion. Everyone else can have their own opinion, but that's my opinion.
And we value and treasure your opinion.
My opinion?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I mean, they're listening to the tapes, right?
Yeah, I guess that is why people... Well, I think people listen more for your opinion.
Aw.
And they listen more for my stupidity.
You do make people chuckle.
So, we will end this episode as we end every episode with our Blockbuster Pick of the Week. There are some things that are coming to Blockbuster this week.
What?
As usual. But I mean, like Wes Craven's New Nightmares there. We talked about that movie. You really loved that movie, didn't you?
I I liked it. It was alright. It wasn't great.
Nah, you didn't like it at all.
No.
I don't remember.
I don't think I liked it very much, but it was still, a horror movie. I like horror movies. I liked it better than this.
Yeah, but the one I'm going to recommend is a movie that came out last year, directed by Jonathan Prince, called, and it's written by someone named Andrew Kurtzman and Elliot Wald. Christopher Lloyd, Jonathan Jackson. There's a woman in it, or a little girl in it named Jessica Alba. It's called Camp Nowhere. You ever seen it? You ever heard of it?
No.
Well, basically, it's a summer camp movie.
Okay.
You ever seen Meatballs or one of those things? It's a summer camp movie. There's a plot to destroy Camp Nowhere, and the rascally camp people have got to thwart it. But it's a good movie. It's funny. It's kind of more of a kids movie a little bit, but it's got a good message. I like it.
Okay.
So check it out if you want to. If you don't want to, I don't give a shit what you do, honestly. But that's our pick for the week.
Right.
All right, Carol, take us home.
So you know what to do. Give us the stars. Tell people, keep listening, and write us at latefee1994@aol.com.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.